planes fall to the ground one by one. The roads are chaotic. Mangled cars, some of them engulfed in flames, others pulled over to the side of the road or fallen into a ditch. The railway is also a complete mess. Thousands of trains have been derailed all over the world. On the ground are overturned cars and tanks. Thousands of tons of grain, coal, and oil haven't reached their destinations. At sea, hundreds of ships are wrecked on rocks and icebergs. Tons of petroleum products have spilled over into the water, predicting the imminent death of unsuspecting marine residents. What do you think has happened to the world? All of humanity has just disappeared from the Earth. In fact, there are many videos on the internet about the disappearance of humanity from our planet. There are even documentaries, but all of them simulate a situation where people have disappeared forever. You may have seen them before. Today, I want to tell you what would happen if humanity disappeared for just 24 hours. Are car accidents and fallen airplanes all that can happen? I won't keep you waiting. I already have the answer. The burning cars on the roads are just the beginning of the fiery captivity into which many territories on our planet would fall. All living creatures near oil refineries would definitely not be well off. Once people disappeared, there'd be no one to monitor all of the production processes. Even if one of the tanks ran out of oil, this would increase the pressure in the reactor. There would be an explosion. The fire would cover the other tanks, and thousands of tons of oil and refined products would fly into the air. Everything would explode and burn for a very long time because there wouldn't be anyone to come and put out the fire. Local fires caused by lightning strikes, gas leaks, and problems with electrical wiring would also be burning in cities. Without firefighters, the fire would spread from object to object, burning down entire streets and possibly even neighborhoods. The world would gradually sink into darkness. After all, most of the power plants that run on fossil fuels would simply stop working because of the depletion of reserves. Cascading power outages would begin. The only bright spots visible from space would be cities powered by hydroelectric power stations. Las Vegas would definitely shine as a guiding star, continuing to receive power from the Hoover Dam. Disaster would threaten all chemical plants. For many of the gases stored there, it's critical to maintain a low temperature for them to remain in liquid form. If the power was turned off, the gas storage tanks would heat up and the overpressure relief valves would be activated, and tons of different gases would be released into the environment. This would be a local apocalypse. Many animals would die from suffocation, and the plant world would suffer. Natural gas plants might also be responsible for serious consequences. They would continue releasing gas into the atmosphere, which would spread further and further, reaching abandoned cars and gas stations. A spark would be enough to cause an explosion. A huge amount of dangerous substances would be released into the air. But there's also relatively good news. Nuclear power plants would continue working. However, they would have to switch into security mode. This way, they could operate for up to 10 days. But once the water evaporated from the cooling systems of the nuclear reactors and they melted, the world would be shaken by a disaster comparable to the explosions at the Fukushima Daiichi and the Chernobyl nuclear power plant. During these events, a total of about 300,000 people were evacuated, and radionuclides were detected for a long time around the globe. Pumps pushing underground water would stop rather quickly, and the subway tunnels would be flooded. But the effect that the disappearance of people could have on the operation of hydraulic structures could be much more serious. There wouldn't be anyone to monitor the instrumentation. A few hours of inactivity would be enough for the irreparable to happen, the breaking of the dam. The situation could develop at lightning speed, and there would be no one to stop the rapid water flow. This means that huge territories could go underwater. Forests and fields would be destroyed. Animals would suffer again. In plants and factories, production lines would continue to operate without people in complete chaos. Goods and products would be piled up on conveyor lines. Many processes that had been started would continue for a whole day until the equipment overheated or the system crashed. With the power outage, the factories would be quiet, but it wouldn't happen immediately. Retail chains, having lost electricity, would also suffer large losses. The situation would be particularly acute for small farms and stores that didn't have their own electric generators to maintain the desired temperatures in their refrigerators. Whether or not these 24 hours would be a respite for nature is a big question. Factories and residential complexes would be burning in major cities. Broken cars would be smoldering on the roads and generating fuel residues. The air would be filled with smoke. The suburbs would remain relatively calm, apart from occasional forest fires. At least, deforestation would stop here. About 40 million trees would be saved for at least a day. Approximately 300,000 sharks would be able to live a day longer. There'd be no one to catch them for shark fin soup. And it's almost impossible to calculate how many fish and other members of the human food chain would be saved. Globally, 24 hours wouldn't bring positive changes to the Earth's flora and fauna. Humanity has already released so much carbon dioxide into the atmosphere that a day or even a month without people wouldn't be enough to delay the changes to our planet. However, any pets and wild animals that survived would be able to enjoy the amazing night sky, provided that nothing nearby was burning or smoking. Due to the lack of light pollution, along with favorable weather conditions, the entire Milky Way would be visible in the sky. It would be as clearly visible as it is in desolate mountains. And now let's think about space, because people are also involved in its study. There'd be no one to control the flight of the International Space Station from Earth and adjust its orbit, so that it maintained the desired altitude and avoided collisions with space debris. During the day, it could collide with an asteroid or satellite, or even fall to Earth. The world's largest observatories may miss the event of the century. Anything could happen in space in 24 hours. Maybe, on this particular day, one of the telescopes would reveal the mysterious ninth planet, or Voyager 2 would transmit sensational news to Earth. Just a day would be enough to miss an important scientific discovery. I've described all of these consequences not only for the sake of imagining the next apocalypse. Searching for material on this topic gave me the opportunity to think about how much we affect our planet. It would seem that humanity has existed on Earth less than 300,000 years. This is a drop in the ocean compared to the age of the Earth, which is more than 4.5 billion years. If you compressed the entire history of the Earth into 12 hours, then humans would appear here in the last 2 seconds. However, during this short period, they've been able to actually subdue the forces of nature in order to comfortably exist here. But if you removed humans for 24 hours, everything that's been created over the years could turn to ash or become covered with a thick layer of silt. The great force of nature would have enough time to practically win back its legal rights and interfere in every area of human life. After humans reappeared on Earth, they would need years of hard work to recover from the consequences of their short-term disappearance. How many months or years do you think it would take humanity to restore everything that was damaged? Share your opinion in the comments. If you don't want me to disappear from your gadget for a long time, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. I'm already preparing the next exciting video for you.